Welcome back, everyone, for episode 2 of the Blue 82 podcast. I'm Craig. I'm here with my co host, Nick. And today we're going to be breaking down some team rankings and Superbowl contenders, whatnot. Probably going to be a quick little episode, but it's off season, so there ain't much to talk about. Before we get started, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to anybody that's new subscribers. We got a few off the first episode, so kind of exciting. But we appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, keep the noties on, and we're going to be bringing this weekly content to y'all. Nick, you got anything before we get started?
You pretty much nailed the head on everything, but if you have any feedback for us, just make sure you put it in the comments or anything like that. Again, super appreciative to everyone that followed us or followed us on Twitch, or if they subscribe to us on YouTube or anything like that.
Love it. We definitely appreciate it. Alright, so today we're pretty much just going to be doing a quote-unquote power rankings, I guess you could call it. We were going to do 1 to 32, but then we were like, that's kind of just overdone, and there's lists like that all over the place, and me and Nick kind of have the same outlooks on a lot of teams, so we're just gonna pretty much just be doing a tier list instead. And we're doing it by divisions. We're gonna go with AFC first, and we're just gonna be putting them where we think they're gonna be. I don't know if it's hard to see on where anybody's watching at, but we got the top tier is gonna be Super Bowl contenders, which is gonna have 4 teams. We're going to have playoff teams, which is 10. We're going to have best of the rest, which is teams that were close to the playoffs or we think are going to be close to the playoffs. It's going to be 6 of those. Middle of the pack teams, those are your 6 and 7 teams or whatever. 6 and 7, that's not even fucking enough games. I'm twisted. Your 6 and 11 teams, your 7 and 10 teams, you know what I mean? Just middle of the pack kids.
Teams that were better than the rebuilding teams, but they were worse than the best of the rest teams. Basically, is how it is.
Yeah, and then rebuilding teams that we think are nowhere close to making the playoffs or being a top team. So
they're basically going to be top at the draft board, is what we're saying.
No, 100%.
They're looking to April already.
Yeah, they're looking a little rough, but well, I guess we'll get into it. So starting with the AFC North.
So I think we should do, like I said, we should probably do our division winner first.
Okay, for each division?
Yeah, no, okay. Not now. Well,
okay.
Okay, yeah, I guess we could do it now. You want to just go through and do division winners?
Yeah, we can go through add division winners from each section, yeah.
Alright, so you can go first and pick the division winner for the North.
I think the division winner for the North is probably going to be the Bengals again. I think the Ravens can give them a run for their money, but I don't see why it wouldn't be the Bengals. But yeah, you agree with me on that one?
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I would argue if the Browns had Watson playing a whole year, maybe they could do it, but like you said, I think the Bengals, they literally just went to the Super Bowl. They lost it, unfortunately, but I don't see... They got better on offensive line, so it's I don't see how you're going to get worse. Joe Burrow looks like an absolute stud.
I agree. Jamar Chase, that guy's built different.
Yeah, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, that's an offense that you just don't want to mess with.
T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd.
Exactly.
They might have the best wide receiver core in the NFL. Definitely top 3.
I would definitely say they're probably the best.
But
yeah, so that's the North. For the AFC East, I mean, you already know it's the Bills.
I'm surprised you didn't say Dolphins there. Oh, that's the Patriots. Whoops. No, I'm playing. I know. Old Dolphins fan over there.
The Bills, well, I am a Dolphins fan, but the Bills are just the Bills. Josh Allen could easily win MVP this season. Stephon Diggs, great wide receiver. Their defense, again, was the best in the league last year, so I don't see how you beat this team, honestly.
And, I mean, they truthfully didn't make it to the Super Bowl because they got unlucky.
Overtime rules, man. Overtime rules.
Yeah, I know. But, anyways.
That's a topic for a different day. But
yeah, we'll get
that's
an easy,
that's an easy lock.
Yeah.
I think the Dolphins can definitely push for a second team in the division, but
Yeah, no,
I don't think they're going to beat the Bills this season.
I think the Bills has got to be the number one favorite for most people out there.
I think the Bills are probably the favorite for the whole AFC as a whole. Like,
yeah, no, I agree.
They look like the team to beat,
yeah.
for sure.
All right, so next we got AFC South, the division with the worst team in the league, the Houston Texans. Hate them, love them, won't get into it. But this one's kind of a tough one for me, especially in the recent days. I've been kind of thinking about it, and it's like, I want to give it to the Colts, and I think ultimately I'm going to say not the Colts, I'm sorry. I want to give it to the Titans, and ultimately I'm probably going to say that the Titans are going to win the division. But I think Colts with Jonathan Taylor, their defense always kind of keeps them in games. I mean, in my opinion, they made a little bit better upgrade of a quarterback in Matty Ice. The Colts did, but I still think with Mike Vrabel and Derrick Henry, I think the Titans still take that division. But again, it could, in my mind, it could easily go to the Colts. It can go back and forth.
I don't know. I kind of want to say the Colts, but this is a toss up. This is almost as hard as the West is, because for the AFC West, this is just like two teams that it just really depends on
quarterback play, in my opinion.
Yeah, like quarterback. Like is Ryan Tannehill for Tennessee gonna step up, or is Malik Willis gonna have to step in? Is Matt Ryan gonna play like how he has in the past? Like, it's hard to say. Looking at the records right now, like Tennessee finished 12-5 last year, and the Colts finished 9-8.
And they just missed the playoffs.
Tennessee was 6th in points per game, and then the Colts were 9th. So, again, that's like they're pretty equal teams. I feel like almost.
And if you look at the way their teams are ran, like they're pretty much like identical teams, not just in the sense of stats
they work on the running back.
Yeah, it's the same style of play. So I don't know. Like I said, I can
both
interchange.
Those teams will be in the playoffs, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Or at least pushing for playoffs. But moving on to the West, again, like I want to say the Chargers, but
you think Chargers gonna win a division?
But I think you got to go with Patty Mahomes. $500,000. What is that? $500 million contract. Like the man is arguably the most. Now. He's the most known probably player in the league now. I feel like.
Behind Tom Brady, probably. Yeah.
Like right behind him. Like I feel like a lot of people know he is. He just got a skin in Fortnite, so I mean I don't know.
He got a skin in Fortnite?
Yes.
Oh hell no.
So I think at the end of the day, again, it's another one. It's hard. Justin Herbert's been lighting the league up since he came into it. Mahomes has been Mahomes. He's got a Super Bowl already on his belt. They lost Hill, but at the end of the day, I still think you got to give it to Mahomes. You know.
I think so too. I think it's such a toss up. This is more of a toss up in my opinion than the AFC South. Just because Raiders made hella moves. Chargers made hella moves. Broncos made hella moves. Chiefs didn't really make a whole lot of moves. They've added some pieces here and there, which we talked about last episode.
Yep.
But their team as a whole, I think, is still just as good. And you can't count out Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. You know what I mean? So it's like, I really could almost see any team in this division winning the division. I think it's going to boil down to the division games they play against each other throughout the season. I think it's going to... Whoever wins the most division games against each other with the Raiders, Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, I think is going to be the one that wins the division. And I think the Chiefs are more known to pull out those closer games. So I think I'd just give the upper hand to the Chiefs. But like I said, it could easily be the Chargers, any one of those teams. And I would not be surprised if there is 3 teams in the playoffs from this division.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a hard division all around. But the Chargers have definitely been known for choking the last couple of years. I mean, there's literally that one stat that was out there that they had the number 1 offense, number 1 defense, and they didn't make the playoffs. I don't know if you ever saw that, but it was like I think it was when Phillip Rivers was there. I think that might have been back in like 2010 or something like that.
I don't know how that happens, but hey.
It is a little bit skewed though. It wasn't points per game. It was based off hitting yards. I think that's said. So a little bit skewed, but it's funny. But anyway, your turn for the North.
All right,
here.
So we got NFC North now. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I think you might like this one. I'm gonna call the Vikings to win this division. I think the Packers are kind of on a downhill climb, I guess you would call it.
A downward.
Downward spiral, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, right. That makes sense. A downhill climb. Come on, Craig, lock it in.
Downhill slide. I think you meant a downhill slide.
Yeah, I did, but we're out here. I think the Vikings win this. I think Packers could easily win it, and this might just be me being a Justin Jefferson fan. I don't know, but I'm going to call the Vikings.
I'm about to say this is one I definitely disagree with. Because
no way.
I think back-to-back MVP quarterback Aaron Rodgers is going to win the division. There's just no way.
I mean, you're not wrong.
If you watch episode 1, we talked about the Packers. I said that they were arguing my biggest loser, and Aaron Rodgers is probably the biggest loser in the league right now because of losing his weapons. But he's such a talented player that at the end of the day, he's going to have to figure it out, and he's probably going to figure it out. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you.
When you have a top tier quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, like Tom Brady, they're gonna win you games and they're gonna find ways to win when they shouldn't. Like I remember countless times watching Tom Brady and I saw the teams on paper and I'm like, these teams for the Patriots are just terrible. This is the year the Dolphins are gonna do something, and then Tom Brady goes out and he just puts up like 30 points like it's nothing. Like, you know what I mean?
Nah, I feel you.
So I really do like the Vikings, but I think they make the playoffs first on the wild card side, not on the division.
That's just me being kind of wishful thinking, Just.
Oh, I definitely love it though.
I could see it, but I mean, I do totally agree.
I can see it, but
I do totally agree with everything you're saying. Like, Aaron Rodgers is definitely going to figure it out. Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, honestly, bro, he's getting up there in age. I don't know if he plans. I don't think he plans on playing as long as Brady has, but I know he's kind of like a ticking clock. He knows that he doesn't have much time left, so. If he wants to get another ring...
He's a diva player. If he doesn't like how this season goes, he's gonna...
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
He's gonna call an owners, players, coach meeting, whatever. Everyone's gonna be there, and he's gonna give someone the gears.
Yeah, so I think he knows that he doesn't have a lot of time left, and he's gotta... If he wants to solidify himself as one of the better quarterbacks out there ever...
He needs a Super Bowl,
man. He needs another Super Bowl. Yeah, like... What's
he
got,
had
one?
So many good teams, and he's only had one Super Bowl.
That's crazy to me.
For as good as he's been, he wants to be a top tier type player and go into the Hall of Fame as a known player. Like, he's got to do something this season.
I agree.
But moving on, we're now on to the
NFC
East now.
East, yeah, that's all you.
I think again, you got the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Washington Commanders. Brand new team name.
L name.
Definitely an L, but. Again, this is kind of a harder one, but I think the Cowboys, again, I think they're just too good for that division. I think the Eagles are honestly on the come up, but again, I don't think they're going to be able to unseat the Cowboys. Kind of like how the Packers and Vikings division is, you know what I mean? Like, looking at paper, like the Bears, the Lions, they're weak. And then kind of the same division here, you have the Commanders and the Giants, they're a little bit weaker, but... You put the what are you doing?
That's a good spot for him, right? I like that. We'll leave him there. This pains me so much. Carry on.
But they did lose Amari Cooper. They traded him away to the Browns, but I think CD Lamb can easily fill the void.
That guy's a beast.
Ezekiel Elliott, he looks like he's on a downward. What did you say? A downhill climb?
Downhill climb, yeah, right?
But they have
Tony Pollard, the new guy?
Yeah, Tony Pollard probably will take over, I think, at some point this season.
Zach really? Martin, even after the big old contract Elliott's got?
I think at the end of the day, I think owners and GMs got to stop being scared. Like, you paid the money to the guy, but if the other guy's better, fuck it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel you.
Like, just eat the cost, whatever it is, and just move on. Like,
I will say, I think they are a good little duo of, like, change of pace backs. You know what I mean? Like, they're two different running backs in my opinion. So I think if they would just commit to like a full blown, which I hate this more than anything, a full blown like running back by committee. If they would just do that, I think they could be a lot better. But I feel like sometimes they they try to force feed Zeke because they pay him so much, and it's like, dude,
yeah,
let him run a couple times, then bring in Pollard, let him run. You know what I mean? Like they're both good backs. Why not utilize both of them?
yeah. I think, like I said, I think the Eagles are a good team though, but the Cowboys are just gonna edge them out.
I think so. Unfortunately,
So
but I think so.
what is this? NFC South now for you?
NFC South, it's gotta be the Falcons, right? You know, Falcons best team in the league.
Marcus Mariota?
No, I'm playing. Tom Brady does it again as always. Not much that needs to be said here.
Look at it now. It's probably the weakest division.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I do think he's gonna have probably one of the easiest runs to the playoffs this year. I also think that's why he probably came back because he realized, oh shit, everybody's going to the AFC.
I'm playing Baker Mayfield, Marcus Mariota, and Jameis Winston.
Yeah, like that's free.
Wow, what a
yeah.
bunch of quarterbacks to go against.
I
can't wait to watch these duels.
That should be a free 6 wins. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be so easy for him.
And then I don't know what the record looks like, but look at these other teams in NFC. Like if he plays the Bears, the Lions, like
he's
the Giants, the Commanders. Like these are just free wins for him.
Yeah, no, 100%. Probably, like I said, the easiest run he's ever had to the playoffs. So of course, definitely gonna be a favorite on the NFC side. But moving on to the NFC West, who you got, Nick?
I was gonna say one last thing about the Bucks. They're probably an easy favorite to the whole Super Bowl. Like,
absolutely.
I don't see any teams really being able to beat them. But the West, I got to go with the Super Bowl defending champs. You got to go with the Rams, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I don't see the 49ers are probably the best team to unseat them, but starting a rookie quarterback and Trey Lance, that's going to be probably tough to ask of him.
Can't count out the Cardinals, man.
I mean, is Kyler Murray going to study for more than 4 hours?
Yo. Come on now. You like playing video games.
I mean, yeah, but I saw the numbers. Call of Duty comes out and his numbers tank. I like a little bit of Call of Duty too, but at the end of the day, you're getting paid millions of dollars. You got to do a job.
That's funny as hell.
No, I got two diplomas myself, so I know about studying. You know.
I definitely think the Rams probably take this division. It's gonna be it's not a toss up.
I think the Seahawks are gonna be probably terrible. The 49ers, I hope they're terrible because the Dolphins have their first round pick. So.
I feel you.
And again, like we were saying, like Trey Lance is starting this year. It's kind of hard.
Nobody knows
it's
what
hard
he's
to
going to
look like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean,
you can't just go out there and expect a rookie to lead you right to the playoffs. Or
granted, their team is kind of built around like the running game, the play action. So I think he could still do well. But I know last year, like I didn't see much from him last year that makes me think he's going to lead his team to the playoffs this year. I still think he's a good quarterback, but I mean, he's young. It's only year 2 for him. He played a few games last year.
A lot of pressure, man.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Playoff aspirations are on the line. 3 first-round picks to go and get him. It's a lot to ask of him, but he's got a lot to live up to.
I agree.
Sorry.
I agree for sure.
Looking at these teams, I pretty much agree with that these are probably the division winners. If you agree or disagree?
No, I agree. I think there's a couple that can maybe be interchanged, but nobody really knows. This season hadn't really started.
Like I could see the ones I would say for sure are locked in are the Bengals, the Bills. I could see the Colts maybe coming in. Chargers can maybe come in. The Raiders, the Vikings can come in for the Packs. The Eagles maybe. Definitely the Bucks are locked in, and probably the Rams are locked in.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
But that's our first tier. It's not done yet though.
We're gonna still add some more teams to it. We need to add
just 1, 2, 3. So just a little disclaimer that 4 of these teams from the playoff team are going to be moved up to the Super Bowl contenders. We just don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah,
just
we're
yet.
Gonna do that last.
That will be saved till the end, basically. And then we're still going to go through and reorganize certain teams. So just make sure you if you fast forward, make sure you fast forward to the end of it. That's all said and done type of thing.
Alright. So
we
now
can move on here. We can go through each division now. So
okay, each division we'll place them where we think they're going to be. All right. So Steelers, Nick, where do you think they're
at? So just to say, like we said, the North, we had the Bengals are in as a division winner in the playoffs.
Yep.
So that's already said and done. Steelers, I think, are probably going to be middle of the pack. I'm pretty sure we agreed on this before the show started.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but we always like we said, Mike Tomlin is one of those good coaches that his teams could suck, but he'll still somehow find a way to pull out like 8 wins, 7 wins. You know what I mean? He just seems like his teams can always do better than what the talent is on the field.
I might be wrong on this stat, Nick, but I'm almost certain that Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season.
Might be right.
Granted, he's always had Big Ben, but I don't think he's ever had a losing season. We traded
our first round pick there, and that was when Big Ben was kind of on a decline, and then they lost AB, and that was when we traded what's his name, Minka Fitzpatrick, and they still pulled out like 8 wins or 9 wins, I think it was.
Yeah. So I think he's definitely gonna figure out a way to, and I mean, just because we're putting these teams here. We're not necessarily saying they're going to be bad. They could. It's the beginning of the season, y'all. They could definitely be moved up to a playoff team. They could be a best of the rest.
I mean, who's starting for them?
This is just early rankings. You know what I mean?
It's Mitchell Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky or
that's what I'm saying. Like, Mitchell Trubisky's a former second overall pick. Like, if he somehow, some way, in his like 6th season now, 7th season, whatever he said, somehow, some way puts it all together, he could easily take this team somewhere. But I don't know. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Because they still got a good defense, so it's like they're gonna be in games. It's just whether or not
he's got Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson,
George Pickens, rookie, Najee Harris. Like they got players.
They got pieces. It's just again, it depends like how these teams play on when the season starts. Like some teams just play to their potential, some teams just don't.
Nope, I agree 100%.
You got the Ravens next, so
yeah, Ravens, another one of my favorite teams. I got a bunch out there, but we're out here. Definitely, I think they're going to be.
Texans suck, right?
Yeah, when the Texans suck, you tend to gravitate towards players you like. Players you like watching, so you're like, okay, I like the Bengals this year. I like the Ravens. You know what I mean? I'm also like. One of those guys that I'm not necessarily. I mean, I am a fan of a team, right? I like the Texans. I'm from Houston, love them, whatever. But I'm also a fan of teams with players. Like I'm a big fan of Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. Big fan of Lamar Jackson. Like I like following and watching teams that have players that I like watching play. So Ravens, I enjoy watching play because Lamar Jackson I think is underrated.
What was it? Madden 21. We both have Lamar.
Dude, that was nuts. Yeah, that was fun. That guy's disgusting on Madden. But I definitely see them being in the best of the rest. They could potentially sneak out a playoff spot as well. I think, maybe.
The AFC is just a really tough conference, guys. So
yeah,
it's just hard to try and figure out what teams they're making, what teams aren't. Like
before the show, did we put them in the playoffs or did we put them best of the rest?
I think they're best of the rest.
I think so too. Like I said, they could easily make it to the playoffs. Just depends on how the season shapes up. But for right now, I'm going to put them in the best of the rest category.
They do play in a tough division. Like we said, the Bengals, we have them already winning the division. The Browns are a talented team, which we're about to do next. So it's like they could win those games against them in the division. The Steelers, like we said, we always play guys hard. They're always a hard team to beat. But moving on to the Browns, I think this team will probably be middle of the pack. I really thought, on paper, like, I remember I set up the roster so as to play a franchise mode, I think it was, something like that. And Deshaun Watson with the Cleveland Browns was, like, on paper, like, going for the team in Madden, like, this team was disgusting with Amari Cooper and Nick Chubb. Like, this team was just really good. They have a good offensive line. Their defense is on the come up. But obviously Deshaun Watson, and it's now official, he will be suspended 11 games. And what was it, $5 million I think it was, fine?
Yeah.
I believe. 6 million, whatever it was. So with your starting quarterback basically missing pretty much the whole season, it's tough to ask Jacoby Brissett or maybe even if they trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, it's hard to ask them to come in and lead your team anywhere in the first year, you know what I mean?
No, I agree completely.
But definitely a team to watch in the future, I believe, though. It just depends.
Yeah, kind of how I touched on it on the first episode. I think they're losers this season, but next seasons after that, easily playoff contenders in my opinion. But I definitely think that's a good spot to put them for now. Moving on to the Patriots.
This will be the AFC East.
AFC East. I am going to put them. I think I'm going to put them at the best of the rest. I think that's where we had them. Just because Bill Belichick always figures out a way. I think you touched on it last episode as well. This is the one season to where it's kind of up to him to find out if he's actually the coach we think he is, which, I mean, it's Bill Belichick. I think he is. But I think he'll figure out a way to win some games. Granted, he's going against the Dolphins, the Jets, the Bills. And those teams have kind of, I mean, the Bills, the Bills. But the Dolphins and the Jets have been making some moves to be a better team. So I could see those division games shaping up to be a little harder. But right now, I'm going to put them at the best of the rest. I could almost maybe move them to the middle of the pack. But I'll keep them there for now.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said. It's a hard year for the Patriots, I think. Like we said, the AFC is just it's a tough competition. Even their own division is really tough. Like you said, this is a legacy. Like I said, even last episode, you watched it. This is my second loser. And it's just a legacy game, or a legacy season, for Bill. To basically put it all together and show us that he is the GOAT. He's the best there ever was, the best to ever do it. But it's definitely be a hard ask for him to do. Like their team right here, where is it? Their defense last year was second in points per game, but they lost a lot of players, like I talked about in episode 1. So it's gonna be hard to basically try and do that again.
I agree.
So I get funny how that works. That I get to talk about my Dolphins again.
Imagine that.
Again, if you guys watched episode 1, this was my winner. Pretty much, I think it was both our winners. Like you talked about it a little bit. Like it's everyone's winners. This was a fun team in the offseason. And then you got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, Cedric Wilson, Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds. Like you got weapons on weapons for Tua. I expect big hopes for them, and that's why I'm putting them in the playoff teams.
Okay. We got another playoff team. I like it. I agree with it as well.
Last year, their defense and points per game was 16th. So, and that was with a young team too. Like, yeah, Javon Holland, they call him the Snowman. He's my favorite player in the NFL right now because he's Canadian.
Canadian, eh?
So he was like, I think he was a top 5 safety last year, and he was a rookie. So, big hopes for that guy to keep going, to keep doing what he's doing. They got Xavier Howard, they got Byron Jones. Just basically, it looks like a stacked team on paper from top to bottom, pretty much.
I like it. I definitely think they're making the right moves to get to that next level of teams. I think last year and previous years, they've kind of skated by with being the best of the rest, kind of middle ground area. I think we touched on it before. Tua's got everything he needs. So this year he's got to make it happen. But I do definitely see them being a playoff team. Just based off.
It's the first year you basically went and built around Tua. So
yeah. So I'm excited to watch him play.
And like I even said last episode, they missed the playoffs 2 years in a row by 1 game. So they've very much almost been there and done it.
No, 100%.
It's just a matter of actually getting over that hump now.
I agree. Moving on to the Jets, the last team in the AFC East. This might be controversial. I'm going to put them middle of the pack. I know some teams might call them a rebuilding team, or some.
Oh yeah, don't forget too that Zach Wilson might miss Week 1.
That is true.
Was it an MCL injury? I believe.
MCL, I think. But I think they're a middle of the pack team now. I think if we said last year, maybe the year before, they were a rebuilding team. They're kind of on that middle ground between these two tiers, in my opinion, kind of. But I think they're making the right steps to get to the next level. Zach Wilson, once he comes back from the injury, if he can do decent enough to show that he belongs to be a starting quarterback in this league, they got some pieces around him now that I think, and I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, guys, but I think that they're going to be a little bit better than they were before. They might sneak out 6 wins instead of 4. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely think they're making the right moves to the next level.
I mean, again, it's another team I talked about in episode 1 as a winner. This was a team I said that could go from 4 wins to maybe 7 wins, or to 6 wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a lot to ask of them, but again, Zach Wilson's hurt, so hopefully he comes back soon. And if he plays week 1, I'm assuming this team could go out and, like I said, win some games that they lost last year.
I agree.
With that said, we're moving on to now second last division in the AFC. This is the AFC South. Like we said, we had the Titans win the division, so for the South, I would put the Colts in. Probably got to put them in either playoff teams or best of the rest, right?
Whoops.
I don't know. If they're in best of the rest, in my opinion, they're probably the best team there, right?
Yeah, no, I think so.
I had them over the Pats. I probably had them over the Ravens, but...
I mean, we can also tweak this at the end and move them up if we need to.
I think got to put them in the best of the rest right now, and then see how the other teams come out, because the AFC West is going to be really hard to put in the playoffs and who's not making it. But again, like you already said, they added Matt Ryan. They got Jonathan Taylor. He was the fantasy MVP last year, right?
Yeah. Cooper Kupp was, I believe, actually.
I don't know. He was up there. Best running back in fantasy last year. Best running back overall last year. That man can absolutely run the fucking ball. It's insane. But Carson Wentz really held that team back.
Before
I have the
you move
record
on,
right here.
Can we give credit to the big guys blocking for him real quick?
Oh, 100%.
It's not a one-man job, but yes, he does run the fuck out of the ball.
What's his name? On the guard?
Quentin Nelson?
Quentin Nelson, yes.
Yeah.
They went 9-8 last year, so again...
I don't know if you remember too, Nick, they lost that last game of the year against the Jags, yes. And it cost them to miss the playoffs.
Yes, yeah. It literally cost Carson Wentz his job.
Yep,
so
100%.
I remember that one.
What a year.
But it's what a year. It's definitely a team that, again, you can make an argument that they're going to make the playoffs. It depends, again, on quarterback play. Like, a lot of these teams are based off the quarterback. Like, the NFL is based off the quarterback. Carson Wentz, like I said, he really held that team back last year. Matt Ryan, the hope is that he can just be average to, like, mediocre. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be MVP Matt Ryan of old. He just has to be good enough that when he throws the ball, he's not turning it over.
Yep. Good. He's got to be a really good game manager, which I think he can do.
Because Jonathan Taylor could easily carry that offense.
Like, and their defense is...
Like prime Adrian Peterson did, you know what I mean?
Yep, 100%. And their defense is really good, so...
Yeah, like I said, their defense was 9th last year, so...
Yeah. And
definitely expecting good things from the Colts this year.
I might be wrong. Let me double check real quick, y'all. I think they added Stephon Gilmore on the defense as well. So that's another piece that's going to... Yeah, they did.
Yeah, you might be right.
They did. So that's another piece that's going to help them on the back end.
You see that middle linebacker right there? I think he's out. Question mark? I can't tell. I can't tell if that's
Leonard. Yeah, it's an out.
That's a beast right there.
Yeah. And
his name.
I forgot.
I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you recognize him because he changed his name.
No, he did. It was Darius Leonard. Yeah.
Yeah. The most weird, randomest thing I noticed was that he changed his name, and I'm like, okay.
I saw that come out, and I was like, all of a sudden you change your name? What? Like, apparently he's always been called Shaquille, but once he got to the NFL, he was like, I'm new. I don't want to like cause any friction or anything. He was like, so I just let it happen. He was like, but now that I'm kind of established, I'm gonna. I want to be called Shaquille, so okay, all right, dude, got you. But don't forget they also traded for Yannick Ngakoue. Pretty good little defensive end, came from the Raiders. He did pretty well last year, so I think that's another piece that. I mean, their defense was good last year. Their defense has always been pretty solid. But I think adding Stephon Gilmore. This guy changing his name, and then Yannick Ngakoue, I think it's going to help the defense a little bit.
Yeah. So, like I said, their offense, they got Matt Ryan at quarterback. Wait, can you go back real quick?
Yep.
Yeah, so Matt Ryan, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr. Like you said, Ryan Kelly, shout out that guy, Quentin Nelson, like they're always pretty solid. And Craig, can you just scroll down to the special teams because you're forgetting their most famous player. It's Nathan's probably
Oh
favorite player.
no.
He loves this guy.
Oh
Hot,
no.
they call him Hot Rod, Rodrigo.
Blankenship, the kicker. The guy is
Yeah, I think
disgusting.
Nathan's drafted him like the last 2 years, I think. Because how long has he been in the league for? 2, 3 years now? I think Nathan's drafted him
Yeah,
pretty much like every year he's been in the league as a kicker in fantasy.
he loves that guy.
But yeah, I can't forget that guy.
Good little shout out for the special teams guys. I love it. All right, so moving on with that,
I'm not sure if it was my pick, or your pick. I think it was your pick now, so you get your favorite team too. I'll let you have your favorite team. You can go ahead.
Bro. Oh my goodness, I hate how this has worked out.
You go ahead.
But back to the Colts real quick. We're gonna leave them at best of the rest for now. We might end up changing this around a little bit. So just like Nick said earlier, stick around to the end, fast forward to the end to see the final results if you want. But we're just gonna leave them there for now. Moving on to the Texans, best team in the NFL, baby. No, I'm playing rebuilding.
That is absolutely cap.
No, yes. They're definitely rebuilding everything. They need to rebuild a new owner is what they really need to rebuild. But that's neither here nor there. I don't even want to get into it. But, I mean, they lost Watson.
Have fun with that team.
They got Davis Mills. Lovie Smith is the coach. Good coach, but I think he's kind of just a fill-in until they figure out what they're doing.
I mean, anybody they hired is just going to be in over their head because the team is just terrible.
Terrible. So bad. I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of hype around him, though. Like, I mean, you know how it is. Houston media. No. Listen.
Craig.
No, I'm not saying... Listen, let me talk. Houston media likes to hype up their teams. They're thinking that they're going to play so hard and they're going to surprise some people. I don't think they're going to surprise anybody. I think they're going to end up with 3 wins. So, if we're lucky... that's really all I got to say about them. You know, Nick, you got anything?
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Jaguars.
I mean, they won 4 games last year. I don't know how much more you can expect out of that team.
I think you're gonna expect less, brother.
I think I'm hammering the under. This is again. I don't know. We didn't want to say they were rebuilding because they already have a quarterback. They already have some pieces. They spent, we talked about this again. We talked about them in the last episode. They paid a lot of money to Christian Kirk to come in and be a wide receiver. So I'm not sure how he's gonna do, but I don't know. It's a tough team to place because, in my opinion, you can make the argument that they are still rebuilding because back-to-back first-round overall picks, like, that to me screams rebuilding, but if I'm putting them in the middle of the pack, they would have to be at the very end. You know what I mean?
I agree. I put them in the same similar situation as, like, the Jets. Like, the past few years, they haven't been good at all. Like you said, they had 2 first-round picks. But I do think genuinely that they're on the right track. They're on the right track. They
haven't shown anything to make me want to put them in the middle of the pack. But
I agree completely. But if I look at them,
it all depends.
If I look at them and the Texans, they're better than the Texans in my opinion. And I know they can still be better and be on the same tier, 100%. But I think, like you said, they're definitely, if they're in middle of the pack, they're definitely at the back of it. You know what I mean?
If they're in middle of the pack, they're at the back, and if they're in rebuilding, they're at the front. It depends where you want to put them, basically.
I agree. I do think, I know you said you weren't really like the biggest fan of him. You haven't really seen anything from him. But I do think Trevor Lawrence is that guy, and I think he'll figure it out. I think he was just in such a bad situation last year. And I'm really excited to see what happens. He was
really
lackluster,
really harped on, or not harped on, but really talked about as basically almost like Jesus. He was gonna be the best quarterback there is, and you can't miss out. If you miss out on this quarterback, you're missing out on the next Peyton Manning, the next Tom Brady. That's how they basically talked about him. And at the end of the day, those are some big shoes to fill, and obviously he hasn't been filling them yet. So again, I'm gonna be watching his games. I'm gonna be seeing what he can do. So hopefully he puts it together. Because again, you never want to see someone to be a bust. You never want someone to just be terrible. Like you hope the best for them, but like you said, I'm not his biggest fan so far.
All right, moving on to the Raiders.
You get to start with the AFC West. This is the last division.
All right, so let me hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 9 playoff teams right now. 4 of them are going to move up to the
9 out of 14.
Yeah,
teams.
Okay. So I think I'm going to put the Raiders at playoff teams. I think we said it earlier. I think you could potentially see 3 AFC West teams in the playoffs. And I think the Raiders can. I mean, they made it last year. Granted, they kind of squeaked by at the last second, but I think with them adding Davante Adams, I think they can definitely figure it out and get there. They also added Chandler Jones. I'm excited to watch the Raiders play. I think they're going to be pretty good this year. They're kind of one of my sleeper dark horse picks.
Yeah, it was pretty much both our sleeper dark horse picks.
Yeah.
Okay. I would have talked on an episode, but
I know.
Take the credit here, okay.
I'm not taking the credit. I literally said before we started that episode, I said, yeah, I got the Raiders too, but I'm not going to talk about them since you're going to talk about them. So,
yeah,
go ahead and throw me under the bus like that, whatever. But
it seems like you're throwing me under the bus, but
okay. All right, moving on.
Yeah, like you said, Josh McDaniels, he's the new coach, so I'm expecting big things for his team. He's got a lot of playmakers. He's got Josh Jacobs, Derek Carr. He's got Davante Adams, Darren Waller, the white guy. What's his name?
Hunter Renfrow.
Hunter Renfrow, yeah. So again, it's like looking at this team on paper, it looks like a fun team. Their defense, again, it's pretty solid. They got Max Crosby, Chandler Jones. They traded for Rocket Sin. Their secondary last year was terrible, so they tried to rebuild it. So I'm expecting good things from the Raiders. Again, it's a tough division, though. So I don't know where they're going to place. Again, they could be a wildcard team. They could miss it out. It all depends. You know what I mean? But moving on to the Chargers. I believe we have, how many teams in the AFC? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will be our last team. I'm putting them into the playoffs. It has to be the Chargers.
I like it.
If we're gonna put the Kansas City Chiefs in at winning the division, then the Chargers have to come in as a wildcard team. I think the Chargers are a really good team. They signed K.C. Jackson from the Patriots this offseason.
J.C. Jackson.
Calvin Noy came over. They got Derwin James. They got one of the Bosa brothers, Joey Bosa. They got Justin Herbert, who the Dolphins, like they said, they should have drafted him. So at the end of the day, it's like this is a really good team. They got
dude,
Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. Like
their team on paper is so stacked. Like even at their offensive line, like Corey Lindsley,
I forgot. They
solid.
even traded Khalil Mack. Like
Kenneth Murray, Khalil Mack, Derwin James, J.C. Jackson. Adderley did pretty well last year. Joey Bosa,
I think Asante Samuel is like a former first or second round pick.
Yep.
So definitely a lot of talent on this team. It's going to be probably a team that you want to tune in on Sundays or Thursdays or Mondays whenever they play and you want to watch it.
That's how it was last year. I was very excited to watch them every single game.
Justin Herbert looks like, in my opinion, he looks like an MVP type player. Like he's the real deal.
Yeah, 100%.
So you got the Broncos here, the last team in the AFC and the last team in the AFC West.
Broncos, this is tough. I think we're gonna put them. I'm gonna put them in the best of the rest, right? But I think this is like a similar situation like the Colts, the Raiders. I think if we're putting 3 teams from the AFC West in the playoffs, Broncos could be one of those teams. If I were to switch them with one, it'd be with the Raiders. But I think they need maybe one more year. And I don't know. It's just tough because this division is so stacked. Like, I don't know if I've seen this good of a division and this long in a good while because you got Pat Mahomes, you got Derek Carr, you got Justin Herbert, you got Russell Wilson. Like, I genuinely am so excited to watch every single game that they play, because I think every single game is going to be a playoff game for them, whether it's regular season or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, every time these teams play each other is going to be a playoff game, because at the end of the day, they know it's going to count, and they're going to need these W's in order to make it into the playoffs. You know what I mean? That's where I think they figure out who's going to make the playoffs in this division, is based off how they play against each other. So I'm excited to see where they land, but I think right now I'm going to say best of the rest, just because I think the Chargers, Raiders, and Chiefs are a little bit better than them.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree. Like we talked about. You mentioned them before in the last episode again. They have a really good defense. It's just, it really depends on how these games play out. Like, I could really see them making the playoffs, like you said. It just, at the end of the day, one of these teams isn't gonna make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think they're the team that is on the outside looking in right now, but they could definitely be on the inside looking out. You know what I mean? It just depends. I'm a big fan of Russell Wilson, but he's playing in the hardest division of football right now.
Easily.
But my one thing that I would say is I would put them easily over the Patriots right now. Like, I'd move them over.
Yeah, I agree.
And then it's a little tough to say if I put them over the Ravens, but they're definitely like in that area. But
I agree.
Moving on to now the NFC conference. This is the NFC North. We had the Packers winning this division, so with the Vikings, I would say they're definitely a playoff team. Like, I don't even know what else to say. I talked about them last week. They were my dark horse team, as was the Raiders. I think this team is going to be a good team again. They went, what was it? I believe they went 8-9, sorry, last year. Again, they have a really good team. They have Dalvin Cook. Their quarterback is Kirk Cousins. They have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Irv Smith, the tight end's coming back. Their defense, they really try to improve it. It just looks like a really fun team, and a team that could really go far if everyone stays healthy and they play to their potential. You know what I mean?
100%.
New head coach, they hired Kevin O'Connell, so looks like a good team.
I think
a really good team.
The biggest thing for them is the new head coach, because they had a lot of the same pieces last year, and they just couldn't figure it out. And I think that's because Mike Zimmer was holding them back. I don't think he's a bad head coach, but I think for this team, you need somebody to kind of open up that offense. Yeah. In my opinion, this is going to be a very offensive team this year. So I think I agree with everything you said. They're definitely going to be a playoff team. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't, but at the end of the day, it's the NFL, so you never know.
Like, real quick, looking at the stats, like, their team was 24th in defense points per game, and offense they were 14th. Like, that team should be top 10 without a doubt. With those type of players, like, you got to be in the top 10 at least.
I agree.
And then with the pieces that they add on defense, you're hoping that maybe they get to like that 15th, 16th type of like range around there.
Yep.
But like you said, I really hope that new head coach, Kevin O'Connell, I really hope he opens us a playbook. You see some big shots with Justin Jefferson or Adam Thielen, Irv Smith. Like, I think this team could be really fun to watch. It just depends on head coach Kevin O'Connell and how he wants to do things.
And I have heard, Nick, that they're wanting to give Justin Jefferson a Cooper Kupp type role, so he might be getting force-fed the ball, and when you give that guy the ball, good things happen. You know what I mean? So I think that's something to look forward to when you watch their games. Just keep an eye on that, because we saw what Cooper Kupp did for the Rams last year.
Jefferson's such a fun guy.
Oh, yeah. If he can do even half of what Cooper Kupp did, I think they're in a good place to definitely make the playoffs, and potentially, with the way the NFC's shaping up, make a deep little playoff run. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, I already talked about it in episode 1. This was my sleeper Super Bowl type. It was a sleeper pick, but it was also like my sleeper Super Bowl pick. Like, the NFC as a whole is weak. The division's kind of weak, so they could even challenge the Packers for the division, but I definitely think if they can get to the playoffs at least, that they'll be able to win some games.
I agree.
I don't see them being a team that goes in the playoffs and then immediately loses. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I can see them winning 1, 2, 3 games, even making it to the Super Bowl. It just depends how it works out in their favor.
I like it. Moving on to the Bears. We're gonna put them at rebuilding team. I think Justin Fields is actually going to be a decent little quarterback.
You got to put them over
NFL.
the Texans, though.
Texans are last, bro. Ranked 32. I definitely think Justin Fields is going to be a good little quarterback.
Please just pull up the Bears right now. Just pull up their depth chart right now.
Chicago Bears. Justin Fields, David Montgomery, Darnell Mooney, Byron Pringle.
Look at their wide receivers. Stop. Look at the wide receivers.
That's tough.
And then I'll tell you, as an NFL football fan, I've been watching NFL. I can tell you, I know 4 of those players off my top of my head. I know Darnell Mooney because they drafted him. I know Amon St. Brown, his brother, is here from the Packers. Byron Pringle was from the Chiefs, and then N'Keal Harry, former first overall pick from the former first round pick from the Patriots.
Yeah,
tell me if you know anyone else.
I've heard these names before. I don't specifically know where I know them from. Tajay Sharp, I think, was on the Falcons at one point. Daz Newsome, I've heard his name before. Isaiah Coulter, I've heard before. This guy I've never heard of before. But these are definitely, I think he's a rookie.
I mean, even look at their defense.
But, yeah, definitely just lower tier players all across the board. Again, like I was saying, they're definitely in a rebuild mode for sure, in my opinion. I think Justin Fields is going to be a pretty good little decent quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. I know it's still early, second year, but I think he definitely needs some pieces because this is just sad to look at.
It is brutal. Absolutely brutal looking at this.
Nathan Peterman, the GOAT!
All I know is I see Eddie Jackson, and he's a Madden legend.
Roquan Smith dealing with some contract issues.
Yeah. I don't know if he's going to be there. This team won 6 games last year, surprisingly, but
it's probably going to be like 3 or 4 this year.
I think they're going to be a 4-3 win type team.
I would not be surprised, Nick, if the Lions have a better record than the Chicago Bears.
Oh, I wouldn't be either. I look at this team, and all I see is the wide receivers, the playmakers around your second year quarterback, are just really fucking weak.
Yeah, I agree completely.
I think the Bears are... You don't have to be a Justin Jefferson fan, but the Bears are definitely failing Justin Jefferson.
Justin Fields?
Justin Fields, sorry.
This guy struggles with names so much.
But, as I was saying, they really struggle to put a team around him, and it's sad to watch that he might get his career ruined because this team just does not want to help him.
Yep.
For whatever reason.
I just hope he gets out of there quick before it's too late.
I hope he does the best with what he can do, but it's hard to judge a guy when he's playing with lackluster talent all around him, but you got to do the best you can do, so.
Moving on to the Lions, Nick. All you. Where you got him?
He's going to bite your kneecap off. That's all I know.
He's going to bite my kneecap off?
You see Dan Campbell?
Is that on Hard Knocks?
That was when he was first introduced. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
That was like his first ever press conference, and he was like, I want to get guys that play hard and they're gonna bite your kneecaps off and all that. I remember watching it because it was on Pat McAfee talked about it, and it was like, I love Motor City Dan Campbell. But,
he's a good guy, good coach. I know the players are excited.
I think they definitely got to be a rebuilding team. They might be better than, like we said, they might be better than the Bears, but at the end of the day, this team just does not look competitive. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I love Dan Campbell. I love his energy that he brings, but at the end of the day, he just might be all talk, no walk type of coach. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I really liked his energy when he was a Dolphins interim head coach when we fired Joe Philbin, but he just doesn't seem like he can be that guy that's gonna get you to the playoffs or get you a Super Bowl. He just doesn't fit that mold to me. You know what I mean?
I'll feel you.
I'm not a believer in him because it's just I don't think he's gonna be able to coach an offense or coach a defense. He's gonna motivate you to win 2-3 games, but that's it.
Yeah, he's just like a feel-good guy and a guy that's going to get you excited to play, but
at the end of the day, it's like vibes only get you so far.
Yep, 100%.
So, for that reason alone, I have to put him as a rebuilding team.
I agree.
Plus, I don't like Jared Goff. I don't think he's good.
Yeah, no, they definitely need another quarterback if they're gonna contend for anything. But I agree with everything you said. I think they're still rebuilding. The players are excited to play for Dan Campbell, but like you said, he's probably not the guy. And we could be completely wrong, but I definitely leave them as a rebuilding team. Moving on to the Eagles in the NFC East, I am going to put them as a playoff team. So, with that being said, Jalen Hurts, good quarterback, played terrible in the playoff game last year. They made the playoffs last year. They've made some moves on their team to have a better team overall. They got A.J. Brown with Devontae Smith. I think if Jalen Hurts can take that next step as a better NFL quarterback and passing quarterback, I think they're going to be good. They had the number one rushing offense last year, and I know part of that helps with having a running quarterback. You're going to have a better rushing offense, but I think if they can continue that going with mixing in passing a little bit more, and if their defense stays solid, which I think they were middle of the pack last year, if not like top 10. So if they can keep that going, I definitely. 18th. Okay, so pretty much middle of the pack. I know at the end of the year they kind of turned it on because I picked them up for fantasy.
Their offense was 12.
12? Okay, yeah. So if both of those can, I don't know, get a little bit better, I think they could definitely be there. And again, like we've said this whole episode, the NFC is just a weaker conference altogether. So I think these teams that you typically wouldn't think would be in the playoffs are going to make it. But I'm excited to watch the Eagles play just because I'm a fan of Jalen Hurts. So I'm excited to see that. But right now, I definitely have them as a playoff team.
Yeah, I definitely have them as a wild card team. Potential division winner. This was one that we talked about before we started was the Cowboys. Maybe the Eagles could come out of nowhere. But again, two of their teams in the division are pretty weak. So they should be like, we talked about them even episode 1. They should be like almost 3-6 wins.
Yeah.
Or 4 wins?
Yeah.
Maybe 5. Like that should be almost maybe 5 wins if you split with the Cowboys. So you're already halfway to the playoffs, basically.
Yep.
With that said, again, funny how it works out. I get my girlfriend's team, the Giants. Her birthday is tomorrow. So, happy birthday, I guess. I'm putting them in the rebuilding team.
That's funny. My dad's birthday is tomorrow. And my mom's birthday is today. Shout out my parents. Let's go.
Shout out to the girlfriend and shout out to the parents. But, with that said, I put them in the rebuilding team. But with that said, I think this team is heading in the right direction. This is one of those teams where it doesn't look like all hope is lost. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Whereas like the Lions, like you don't really have a direction. The Texans don't have a direction. But I'd put them as probably the best rebuilding team in my opinion.
Okay.
You drafted Kayvon Thibodeau. You drafted Evan Neal. Like, I like what they're doing. I like where they're going. It's one of those teams that you have a new hired head coach, Brian. I think it's Brian Dable is how you say it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to expect you to do anything when you got Daniel Jones, who you're unsure if he's the guy or not. You got Saquon Barkley, who drafted 2nd overall. He looks like a complete bust so far. You know what I mean? It's just it's hard to expect this team to go deep into the playoffs or to even make the playoffs when your team is got so many question marks.
I agree. I will say just a quick little note. Kayvon Thibodeau, I think, sprained his MCL, tore his MCL, tore his meniscus.
He didn't tore. He sprained it.
He sprained it. Okay, so they're saying
he was out. I think he's out to like 3 to 4 weeks, maybe.
Okay,
so
yeah, that's what I heard.
He might be ready for week 1.
Might be ready for week 1. So something to keep in mind. But I mean, I agree with everything you said. Like, they're the Giants, in my opinion. Like, I know that sounds bad, but like they're definitely on the upper echelon of rebuilding teams. They do have kind of somewhat of a direction. I think it's just up to if Daniel Jones can play or not. I don't think he can. I think they're going to end up having to get another quarterback. But I definitely think they're rebuilding. They got a couple good wide receivers, younger ones, so that's something to look forward to for them. New head coach. They need a few more years at the end of the day.
Again, it's one of those teams, like, they have a direction, but they're just not there. Like I said, I really like the pieces though for Daniel Jones. Like, they got wide receiver Wendell Robinson or something.
Wendell Robinson, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, like he looks like he could be really good. Kadarius Toney. They even got the former Lions player, which is Kenny Golladay. So they got pieces. It just at the end of the day, it really comes down to quarterback play. Like again, the NFL is coming down to the quarterback play.
Yep.
Moving on, it's hard to expect them to do anything with it. It's a question mark there. Yeah. But
moving on to the Commanders. I think
last team in the NFC East.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put them in best of the rest. Wait, no. I don't know. I'm gonna put them middle of the pack. I think they're
a middle of the pack team.
I think they're like here
with Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
they're better than those two teams, but I don't think they're better than the Steelers or better than the Browns on paper.
No, I agree.
And they're definitely not on par with the Patriots and
the
Broncos.
And
I think you were trolling a little bit there.
No, I was looking at the wrong tier. But I definitely think they have a solid team. They got some good weapons around Wentz, but you just hear so much about Carson Wentz, man. Like, he's not a good leader. He's not good in the locker room. Like, I don't know if he can lead a team. I mean, in my eyes, it looks really bad how he goes to the Colts one year and is automatically gone from the Colts. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think this is a prove-it year. And they paid a first round.
Was it a first round pick for him?
Yeah, the
second
Colts
round pick that turned into a first round pick.
Yeah, that's what it was. So this is definitely a prove-it year for Wentz. He's got some pieces around him. Washington has like 4 first-round defensive players on the D-line. So it's like, with that being said,
Terry,
they got weapons.
Dawson,
they got players, but like I just don't see them making that step with Wentz. I would almost prefer Taylor Heineke over Carson Wentz. But that's just me personally. I'm not like knocking the guy.
Gibson, McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Damai Brown, Johan Doxson, Logan Thomas. I was like, he's got playmakers for sure. It's just I don't believe in Carson Wentz. Like, I agree with what you say with Taylor Heineke. Like, he could honestly be starting at the end of the year.
Yeah, I could see that. And again, back to their defense. Like, they got Chase Young, Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat. Those dudes are, I believe, all first-round picks. So their defense needs to be carrying this team. And last year they did not at all. So I think they got Kendall Fuller as well, Bobby McCain. They have a good defense. They just need to pull it together.
25th in points per game.
Yeah,
like, how does that happen with this team?
I don't know how that happens with that defense.
Also, shout out again to Nathan. He's a big believer in Washington's defense.
He does love their defense. He drafts them like round 6
He drafted them
fantasy.
over the Rams, over the 49ers. Like he drafted. Actually, he was the first one to take a defense. So he drafted them over everyone's defense.
Yeah.
He was a number one believer.
Yep.
So shout out Nathan.
But definitely a middle of the pack team. They can pull it together. They could probably be an average team of 8 and 9 or whatever. You know what I mean?
I could see them getting 7-8 wins, but
yeah. But I think I don't see them in the playoffs, and I don't see them being as good as the Ravens, Broncos, Colts, or Patriots.
Yeah, I can't see it either. No. I'm not a big believer in them.
Not at all. Moving on to the NFC South. What you got, Nick, for the Saints?
I think they're just middle of the pack. I'm not a big believer in Jameis Winston. I think he's showing some hope, but then he goes and does something that you just don't want to see. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Unfortunately, he was hurt. I believe all of last year, most of last year. So that sucks.
I think he played the first 3 or 4 weeks, then tore his ACL.
Yeah. So
but he was looking promising the first 3 or 4 weeks. Wasn't throwing as many interceptions.
Well, that said, you're forgetting too is that they didn't fire him, but he retired. Was head coach.
Sean Payton. He didn't necessarily retire either. I think he They said he's stepping away from
he's
stepping away from football for a couple years is what they said.
So he's basically semi-retiring.
I don't know if I necessarily blame him. Yeah.
So I definitely don't have hope for this team. Like no. I really don't know what you can really expect out of this team. Like you changed your head coach from basically a Hall of Famer type head coach to I honestly don't remember who they hired.
I want to say it was a like in-house hire, like in-house promotion is what it was. Like one of their coaches was stepping in for Sean Payton.
Who it is then?
Yeah, I don't either.
So with that in mind, it's just I don't believe in them. I don't really have high expectations for them. On the bright side, though, you get Michael Thomas back, so playing boys back in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not a big believer in the Saints this year.
I agree completely. I think if they had Sean Payton, I would put them in like the category of of the Steelers with Mike Tomlin. They always kind of figure out a way to be middle of the pack decent. You know what I mean? But without Sean Payton, I think this team is just on
They're just a huge question mark.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Nobody really knows how this is going to fare out.
And you're playing with Tom Brady in the division. You're just going to get demoted a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. Moving on to the Falcons, I put them as a rebuilding team. I know they signed Marcus Mariota, drafted Desmond Ridder, but with Calvin Ridley out, suspended for the whole year for betting. LOL. I just don't. I don't know. I don't even know what to say, man.
Bet on his own team to win.
Yeah, betting on his own team to win. Like, what a bad guy he is. They got Kyle Pitts. They got a couple young players around him. But, I mean, their running back's Cordell Patterson. Like, what is that? Carry on. They got some decent pieces around them, but I just don't think that they're going to pull it together.
I'm a big fan of Drake London. I think for fantasy-wise, he could be a really good target if you
get him.
Yeah,
they don't really have many
left tackle, but
they don't really have
many core pieces. Like core pieces that you can build around or that you look forward to watching. Like now.
Yeah, I agree completely.
I will say Bryan Edwards. I don't know. I think that was a trade maybe
from the Raiders.
Signing. I can't remember, but that's an underrated type of player right there.
Yep.
But other than that, it's like I look at their defense. I'm like, nah, like. And besides AJ Terrell, I'm not really sure who else you could really look at and say, yeah, they're building around him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree completely.
Like, with their team last year was 30th in defense, and we found their offense. Falcons. But, they're to 26. So, 26 in offense with Matt Ryan, mind you, and 30th in defense. So I'm not without Matt Ryan now, that should easily be probably like 30-30.
I agree.
31-31. Like
I think Matt Ryan kept him in a lot of games, and I don't know if Marcus Mariota.
Oh, Matt Ryan single-handedly.
Ritter can.
Actually, Matt Ryan and Kyle Pitts single-handedly beat the Dolphins last year,
100%.
Cost us our playoffs. So. That game.
Real quick before we move on to the next team, someone in the Twitch chat. Nathan mentioned the players on the Saints defense, which I do want to give credit to the Saints defense real quick. And
yeah, their defense was ranked 4th.
We're not saying that the Saints are going to be bad. We're just saying they're going to be middle of the pack. And it's not that we're questioning that they don't have good players, because they do have good pieces, but I can't find it. There we go. Okay. They have a good defense. They always have a good defense. It's the Saints, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? They got Marcus May, Tyrann Mathieu, Marshawn Lattimore, Demario Davis, Cam Jordan. Like, yes, they're going to have a good defense. But their biggest question mark with the Saints, in my eyes, and I'm sure yours, Nick, is quarterback play, how their offense is going to turn out. Yes, they have pieces. They have Kamara. They got Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Jarvis Landry. Like, yes, there's people on that team that are going to be good, but we just don't know how they're going to shape up without Sean Payton. Jameis Winston played pretty well last year before he got hurt, but that was with Sean Payton, and we all know what Sean Payton does with quarterbacks.
Yeah, I just saw Nathan comment again, and I'm just like, I get what he's saying, but you have a whole new coach in place too, Nathan. So it's like it's hard to expect him to continue what he was doing last year, or to expect him to be better than what he was last year when he didn't even play the whole year to begin with, and
it's Jameis
you have
Winston.
you have a whole new coaching staff in place.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a whole new scheme, whole new basically like dynamic basically like.
Yeah.
And expecting them to win 8-10 games, like that's a lot.
Middle of the pack isn't saying that they're going to be bad. It's just saying
middle of the pack means they're going to win.
They're going to win 6, 7, maybe 8
games.
Like that, I definitely think that's seeable. You know what I mean? I think their defense is going to keep them in games.
Go to our tier listing. Like you can tell me right now, Nathan, that you think the Saints are better than the Pats, the Broncos, the Ravens, the Colts. No. Like you can sit there and say they're better than the 3 teams that they're behind right now, the Jaguars, the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, I'd put them there.
The Commanders. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like they're better than those teams, but I don't see them being better than the Steelers and the Browns or the Pats or anything like that.
And I mean, we could be completely wrong. I mean, they could come out and win 11 games, but at the end of the day, this is where we genuinely think that they're going to be. You know what I mean? He just said,
at the end of the day, it's the NFL.
This.
Like, teams win, teams lose.
Yeah.
Like,
he said, I'll take the Saints over the Pats and the Ravens. I can maybe see the Pats, but over the Ravens, I just don't see that at all.
But yeah. Anyway,
moving on to the Panthers.
I think this was yours.
Yeah, I think it was. No, I just did the Falcons. This is yours.
No, I did the Saints.
No, we were talking about the Falcons after the Saints. Because we were talking about Matty Ice.
Okay.
And I was like, I gotta go back and talk about the Saints.
So, with the Panthers, sorry, I was gonna say the Falcons. He's got me all messed up. But the Panthers, I would easily put them in rebuilding. Like, they got Baker Mayfield starting. It's confirmed that he is now starting. I'm not a big fan of this team. Like, you're moving them already over. I think they're better than all those teams that are in that basically rebuilding team, but I just don't really see what the vision is. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It almost seems like you're trying to put a Band-Aid on the gaping wound, and you're hoping for the best. Like, you already traded for Sam Darnold. It didn't work. You're now trading for Baker Mayfield. Christian McCaffrey has missed the last 2-3 years now to injury, so it's a tough ask. But as you can look at this offense, it basically is the Christian McCaffrey show.
I will say, Nick, this is one of the ones that in my opinion, like, I think we'll put them here for now. In my opinion, I think they're in the same conversation as the Jets and the Jags. Just because last year their defense was pretty solid. They got Brian Burns, Derek Brown, Shaq Thompson, Xavier Woods, Jeremy Chin, J.C. Horn, Dante Jackson. Like, they have pieces on the defense that will do well. I think Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. I'm not saying by a lot.
Their defense finished 21
yeah.
Points per game, and their offense finished 20.
What was their defensive ranked?
21 in points per game.
No, but like a ranking in the league. Does it show that? Or is that just points per game?
I have points per game. They were 21.
Oh, they were ranked 21st points per game. I thought you were saying they were giving up 21 points per game.
No, they were ranked 21.
Okay, gotcha.
And then their offense was ranked 29.
I think they have some pieces on the defense that can make it a pretty solid defense. I know last year I think their defense started off pretty hot. Again, I think Baker's better than Sam Darnold. I think if Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy.
Matt Corral, just saw it. He's out for the whole year.
Yeah, I did see that.
Which absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, carry on.
I think if Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, that will help their offense a lot. Because like you said, it's kind of the Christian McCaffrey show. They do have DJ Moore. Robbie Anderson hasn't shown much. But he's a decent little wide receiver, I guess, for a wide receiver too. Not a whole lot of pieces on offense, but I could see them maybe squeezing out 5 wins, 6 wins maybe. But again, just kind of in this general area, middle of the pack, rebuilding. I'm fine with leaving them on rebuilding. But I just wanted to point out that they do have some pieces on the defense and the offense. But I do think, like you said, it just depends.
All right. Well, I guess you can move them. Put them in the middle of the pack then.
Well, no, we already got 6 teams there. That's what I was looking at. That's why I'm like, we'll just keep them there. And I'm fine with keeping them there. I just wanted to throw out that I do think there's somewhere in this general vicinity between the Commanders, Jets, Jags, Panthers. You know what I mean? Like, they're in that little area. But I do think that they're, like I said, rebuilding, middle of the pack. There's somewhere around there. Moving on to the NFC West. Another, at least last year, was a good division. This year, I think they're a little bit lesser of a division, but still some good pieces inside of it. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4.
We have one playoff spot.
One playoff spot left. So, with that being said, I'm going to give it to the Cardinals. I think we can make the argument that we could give it to the 49ers, but I'm going to give the last playoff spot to the Cardinals. Just based off of, I don't know what's coming from Trey Lance yet. We saw him play in a few games last year. He looked a decent, good little mobile dual threat quarterback. But I just think when you have a new quarterback take over, nobody knows what's going to happen. Yes, they got Deebo Samuel. Yes, they have a good team. And I could easily see them interchanged with the Cardinals if Trey Lance plays well. I just think it just depends on how he plays. And again, I know we keep saying this, but at the end of the day, it's a quarterback league nowadays. So a lot of these teams, depending on where they're going to end up, depends on how good their quarterback plays. You know what I mean? So I think the Cardinals are the better team in my eyes right now with Kyler Murray, and I know Hopkins is going to be out for 6 or 8 games. They got they had a solid defense last year. I think they lost Chandler Jones, which is upsetting for them, but I do see them probably squeaking out the playoffs in a lesser NFC conference.
Yeah, it just, again, if Trey Lance is the real deal, then like I said, it could be either of those teams, but as of right now, I'd put the Cardinals over the 49ers.
I agree.
But
so with that being said, that means we're going to put the 49ers like here, right?
Yeah, they have to be the best of the rest. I think they're one of the most talented team in that little
category
tier list. Yeah. But I don't know. It's a hard thing to expect them to do well with a rookie quarterback, like we talked about before. Rookie quarterbacks are a hard thing to judge. Like, you know what I mean? They have a good team, so you're expecting him to be able to easily get 8 wins, but to get those extra 2, maybe 3 wins to get you in the playoffs, he might not be able to win those games come November time or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right, I agree.
But with that said, their team is super talented. So I could definitely see it happening, but is it going to be all because of Trey Lance? Probably not. But with that said, we're moving on to Nathan's team.
The Seahawks. So we're going to have to make some changes here looking at it, because the only spot left we have is the Seahawks to put... Whoops. No. No way that just happened. Oh my god. That's so unfortunate, man. Oh, we're back. No need to fear, we're back. Woo! That was a close one. Almost lost it. Okay. Technical difficulties, but we're good. Alright. So, with that being said, we're going to be putting the Seahawks in rebuilding, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
You lost Russell Wilson. I don't know where you go. You have to... Pete Carroll looks like he's going to retirement home. I'm not sure. The guy's like 70 years old. I'm not sure how much left he has in the tank, but yeah. For sure, they got to be rebuilding. So with that said, we can move the Panthers up, and then I would say that would bump the Steelers up to best of the rest.
Okay. I like that.
And then...
And I think real quick, I think we just bumped the Steelers up to the best of the rest, but I could easily see the Browns or the Saints probably in that same spot that the Steelers are in. But right now I think we're going to put Steelers there just because Mike Tomlin always figures a way out. Will that be the case this year? We don't know, but I'm okay with putting them there.
I trust Mike Tomlin more than I trust Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, I agree. And without Deshaun Watson.
And Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah. I agree completely.
But with that said, I think this is where we're going to keep the teams in this tier, like in the rankings, but we're going to move them in front of each other with that set. Like, they're staying in their category.
Oh, but we're going to organize them in the category.
But they won't be probably, I don't think any team's going to be moving up or down. You know what I mean?
Okay. So,
but
let's start with the bottom, right?
No, I think now we do our Super Bowl contenders. I think I'm going to do the Super Bowl contenders, right?
Okay.
And then we can move everyone else around after, but
I like it.
This is the big one here, so you had the Seahawks last, so I guess I'll take the first pick. So for AFC, I think for the Super Bowl contenders, it's easily the Buffalo Bills.
Alrighty.
I don't really know what else to say. I mean,
they're definitely a favorite.
The stats, their defense was first in points per game. Their offense was third. So at the end of the day, it's like they're everyone's favorite. It's not like a shocking pick. Like, wow, you said the Buffalo Bills. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be any surprise to anybody that they're a Super Bowl contender.
They're just gonna be in the probably Super Bowl. Like, I don't see how you can simulate the season probably like 100 times. I don't see the Bills missing it maybe like more than twice.
I agree.
So with that said, it's your pick now for the other AFC team.
I think how we should do this, Nick, because I think we have three that are kind of unanimous with each other.
Okay, you want to just get
we'll get the unanimous.
The ones that like
that we agree on 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with an NFC team. I'm gonna go ahead and put the Bucs there, just because I think it's Tom Brady, lesser NFC, like we've said all episode. They should have a pretty easy run. They're a Super Bowl favorite again, and this is kind of the same situation with the Bills. When people talk about the Super Bowl and people say, oh, the Bills, it's no surprise. Same thing with the Buccaneers. It's no surprise that we're putting them up there. They were good last year. They were good. They won a Super Bowl the year before. I could easily see them making a deep run for the playoffs again and potentially being in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so just a quick stats update. So, like I said, the Bills were third in offense, first in defense. The Bucs were second in offense and fifth in defense. So, again, just two stacked powerhouse type teams. With that said, this is where it kind of becomes like a toss-up for the second choice for AFC and the second choice for NFC. Like, I really, as an NFL fan, as a Dolphins fan, I could really see the Dolphins pushing. Like, Tua has all this talent around him. It's really hard to dismiss that these players that are around him. You know what I mean? Like, you have Mike Gesicki, you have Jalen Waddle, you have Tyreek Hill, you have all these picks on defense. They've really built like a really good team, and I think that Tua could lead this team to the playoffs, to the Super Bowl potentially this year. But it's a lot to ask with a rookie head coach. It's a lot to ask of Tua to just suddenly become like a superstar type quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I agree.
I could really see it happening, but I think I'm gonna have to give it to the Bengals though. I think the Bengals are just more experienced. They've been there. They've already been there, done it. They went to the Super Bowl now. They've lost it. Joe Burrow's hungry. I think they're gonna fight for that playoff spot or for that Super Bowl. I'm sorry, that Super Bowl spot.
I like it.
I'm not sure if you're gonna disagree.
I think I agree, but I will just throw in a couple more teams that are definitely in there as well, but we're not gonna put them in there if that makes sense. I could easily see the Chiefs being in the Bengals spot. I could see the Chargers being in the Bengals spot. The AFC is just such a monster this year that we really don't know how it's going to shape up. But I think, like you said, Joe Burrow was there last year. They lost in a depressing way. And I think Joe Burrow's just the type of guy that if he wants something bad enough and when he almost has it and doesn't get it, I think it just fuels that fire even more to where I could see them potentially doing better than they did last year. But again, could see the Chiefs, the Chargers. There's multiple AFC teams that we could see in this position. But I'm okay with putting the Bengals there for now.
It's hard. It's a lot of teams that are good. Like I said, the Dolphins I think are one of the best teams on paper this year. So it's like if they don't even make the playoffs, that'd be super disappointing. Because I definitely see them being like how the Vikings are. Like they're a really talented team, and I can see the Dolphins being that talented team with an even better defense, in my opinion, than the Vikings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't see how they can't be a Super Bowl contender type of team this year. But like you said, Joe Burrow's basically been that guy since coming to the league, and basically since college. Like once he went to LSU, he was basically the guy. He went and won a natty. Went to the Bengals, got hurt year 1, and then year 2. Took a team that I don't even remember what their record was, but they were just got the first overall pick that year.
I think they were 3-13, my dude.
And like he took them to the fucking Super Bowl. So it's like that's incredible. And again, that just goes to show that any of these teams that we're picking right now, one of these teams like the Giants, the Lions could be a Super Bowl contender. You just never know.
You never know.
Like a team like that could just come out of nowhere and just surprise everyone because they put it all together.
That's why at the end of the day all of us watch football, because there's so many underdog stories that can happen. We could see the Jags in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? You never know. Like some years these teams just put it together for 1 year and pop up out of nowhere. And honestly, I don't think it's going to happen, but that could have been the case for the Bengals. Last year could have been their year, and they could go back to going 8-9 this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
they could be a middle of the pack team, a terrible team. You just never know. But
yeah, and I know
sometimes these teams just hit that third gear, fourth gear, and they just take off, and you're like, where did you come from? But
and I know it looks like that we're just taking the teams from last year and putting them in Super Bowl contenders because Bills, Bucks, and Bengals were all in the championship game last year. Like I know it looks like that, but genuinely looking at all these teams like on paper and just how they played last year, and that's what a lot of this is based off of, how they played last year, the moves they made in the offseason to get better, and why we're putting the teams where we're putting them. I just genuinely think that at the end of the day, they made some moves to get better, even though they were already great. So that's why these teams are back in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Bills had the best defense. They signed Von Miller, so that right there is like you just went and took the thing that you're already the best at
and added more to it.
And added even more to it.
Yeah.
Like, how can you say that this team is going to get worse? You just can't. Josh Allen is, in my opinion, I don't know if, I'm sure he's probably up there, so I can't say he's a sleeper pick, but he's one of my favorite MVP picks.
I like it.
I'm not going to say he is, though, because I'm not even sure yet, so we'll save that for next episode.
That'll be next episode. But
he's definitely one of those players that you can believe in.
No, I agree. So moving on to our last pick in the NFC.
You get the last pick for the NFC.
In the NFC, I think it's a favorite. Again, I know they were there last year. I know they won the Super Bowl last year, but they won the Super Bowl last year. How can you not put them back in the Super Bowl contender talk? You know what I mean? I think their roster pretty much stayed the same, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
they lost Allen Robinson, maybe, or no, they added Allen Robinson.
They added Allen Robinson. They lost Robert Woods.
They traded someone away.
They traded Robert Woods away to the Titans. Yeah. So with that being said, I mean they pretty much traded, in my opinion, two similar guys.
Oh, and Sonny Michel. They lost too.
They lost Sonny Michel, but they still got Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson Jr. Like those are two potentially starting running backs on different teams. They signed Allen Robinson, traded away Robert Woods, still got Van Jefferson, still got Cooper Kupp. I'm still hearing talks potentially they could bring back OBJ. Exactly.
So, that's a stacked team.
Yeah, they got Bobby Wagner now. They got Leonard Floyd, Aaron Donald, of course, Demon. Jalen Ramsey, of course, Demon. Troy Hill, Taylor Rapp. Like, their team is still there. They got Matt Stafford.
Can we just take a minute to think that this defense has Bobby Wagner, Jalen Ramsey, and Aaron Donald. Those are arguably the top, 3 players at each position.
Yeah, 100%.
That's actually crazy to think about. I'd take Jalen Ramsey number 1 all day. I'd take Aaron Donald number 1 all day. And you can make the argument that Bobby Wagner is, the 3rd, 5th best middle linebacker in the league.
Yeah.
That is insane to think about.
Yeah. 100%. So, with that being said, definitely going to put them back in the mix. Again, all these teams were in they played for the AFC Championship the Bills didn't. But we all saw what happened to the Bills. They could have easily been in the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
But these are our Super Bowl contenders. I'm sure most people will probably agree. Some people might say, oh, y'all are just taking the teams from last year that were good. But I don't see how you disagree with this, in my opinion. But
I'm just laughing because this guy said Lions Super Bowl
champs.
No.
Earlier he commented and he was like, don't hate on the Lions fan. He said, don't do the Lions dirty. I'm sorry, bro. We had to. It's just, it is what it is.
But yeah, if you want to just quickly do the rankings run, I'd probably have the Bills as the best team here.
Okay.
I'd probably keep the Bucks there, and then I might put the Rams over the Bengals.
Okay, I could see that.
But if you want to argue with any of that, go for it.
I don't.
But just to say too, like to wrap it up for the Super Bowl contenders, because that's pretty much now set in stone, is that I could easily see almost any of these teams that we have in the playoff teams being there. Like, 100%. I really do love the Dolphins. I love everything that they've done. I could see the Chargers being in there. The Vikings, we really honestly were talking about it earlier that they could be a team that they could almost pull off, like, not as crazy of a run as the Bengals did last year, but they could be one of those teams that didn't make the playoffs to go into Super Bowl contenders. So, with that said, I'm not too sure it's going to be these four teams, but I'm pretty sure we're on the right mark. You know
those are our favorites at this moment. And who knows, maybe in the middle of the season we come back and revisit this and change our tune a little bit. You know what I mean? But just preseason analyzing, this is where we're putting them right now.
I will say, like, if I'm to pick a sleeper from each conference, I'm going with the Dolphins and the Vikings. That's my two sleepers to make the Super Bowl. I'm not sure who you're going to take out of those teams, but those are my two.
I think if I were to pick two sleepers, and we're talking about, like, teams that probably aren't any favorites to win the Super Bowl or even get to the Super Bowl, but I could maybe see... I don't know if I could pick any right now, but I could say like, it's just tough, man. There's so much talent. I'm going to pick... I might have to say the Chargers, man. The Chargers are just good. I know you said it earlier, and, I mean, we agree on this, but I could see the Chargers being up there. I can maybe even see the Ravens making a play for it. I know they're down here. Just depends on the play of Lamar Jackson this year. He kind of had a mediocre year last year, but he is an MVP quarterback. I think he could definitely change it up a little bit.
What about for the NFC?
NFC, I'd probably have to say... I'm probably going to agree with you on the Vikings, man. Like, I'm excited to watch them play.
Yeah, I really like what they've done.
Yeah.
But anyway, we can move on now to the next.
Do a quick little
tier here. For the playoff teams, how are we ranking these teams here?
I'd probably put KC up here, right?
Yeah, I think KC's probably one of the best.
I'm probably gonna put the Chargers somewhere up here.
I think the Chargers got to be second, right?
I think so. Yeah, I like that.
I think they're better than the Titans on paper. Not sure they're better than the Chiefs, but.
And then I think maybe Green Bay here.
Green Bay third? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about that.
I can agree. Again, like we talked about Aaron Rodgers, he's an MVP. You got to put him near the top. I really want to put the Dolphins next. Like, I really do.
But, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that.
Like, I think they're fourth or fifth. Like, looking at these teams, like, I think they're better than a lot of these teams. Like, depth-wise and talent-wise.
Yeah, I could see that.
And after the Dolphins, I want to put the Vikings, but...
I like it.
It's up to you.
And then I think maybe Raiders.
Yeah, I'm agreeing so far. I think you got to put the Titans there.
That's kind of what I'm thinking right now.
Maybe the Cardinals, yeah. And then the...
Cowboys and the Eagles?
Cowboys, Eagles, yeah.
Because we're saying Cowboys going to win the division. I mean, I'm cool with ranking that how we ranked it.
So, right now you have the Bills number 1, Bucks number 2, Rams number 3, Bengals number 4, Kansas City's 5, Chargers are 6, Packers are 7, Dolphins are 8, Vikings are 9, Raiders are 10, Titans are 11th, Cardinals are 12th, the Cowboys are 13th, and then the Eagles are 14th.
And that's
pretty good.
Yeah, no, I like it. And I just want to say, I know, and Nick, I'm sure you're perfectly okay with this, but we might get some hate for having the Dolphins way up here. But you got to realize on this show, we have a Dolphins fan and then somebody else that is literally somewhat a Dolphins fan because his friend is a Dolphins fan. Like, you know what I mean? So we're hyped to see.
I don't even think it's being biased. Like, if I was taking off my biasness, fan bias, whatever, it's just like this team is good.
I agree.
I don't know in a world where you can cover like Mike Gesicki, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek Hill, and then you also have to cover the running backs coming in the backfield, Sonny Michel, Raheem Mostert. Like that's so many like talented players on one team. Like
I agree, Nick. I agree. I don't know where other people are ranking the Dolphins. I haven't looked at any power rankings this year. That's why I only made that comment because I'm sure people will be like, "Well, why you got the Dolphins?" I'm sure we're a little bit
higher than what people have. Like I'm sure they probably have them at like 15th, maybe
or something like that.
20th, something like 15th to 20th. But like we have them at 8th, which I think is not even that crazy.
I think we're just banking so much on all the moves that they made we think are going to pay off. That's the only difference. I think other teams are other people that probably do rankings are probably looking at it and saying, yes, they made all these moves, but we don't know how it's going to pay off.
They're probably also banking off of like what we've already seen.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I'm just going off of what we haven't even seen. Because we haven't even seen Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle play all year.
Yeah. So I'm okay with having them there. I just wanted to point that out, like why we may have them higher than other people do. Nick's a fan. We love it. Moving on to the best of the rest. I think I'm okay with leaving the 49ers there and then the Colts.
I'm okay with how
we
almost have it.
I think, I'm almost okay with
like,
how
I like the 49ers. I like the Colts. Like, you can make the argument that the Colts are better than the 49ers. It just depends.
And you can make the argument that the Broncos will probably be better than Ravens, but again, depends.
I like how we have it right now. I just think that the Broncos are going to need them more than a year, like we talked about.
Yeah.
I think the Pats are probably going to work out better than the Steelers. It's just, again,
I'm cool with leaving it like
these
that.
These are the teams that I feel like you could almost flip-flop. Like, it just depends. Like, even the Browns, like, we argued that the Browns could even be up in this division. Even the Saints could be. Or in this tier list, sorry.
I agree. Moving on to the next level, because we're going to keep this the same. Moving on to the next level, which would be what? 20.
The middle of the pack.
Yeah, it'd be like ranked 20 through like 25 or 27, something like that.
Yeah, so we had the Eagles with 14, so the 49ers are 15th, the Colts are 16th, the Ravens are 17th, Broncos are 18th, Pats are 19th, Steelers are 20th, so this will be 21 to, like, what is it, 21 would be the...
27.
Yeah, so 21 would be the Browns right now.
Yeah, I'm okay with leaving them there.
Yeah, I think the Browns are probably the best team in this tier here.
Absolutely. I'm okay with leaving the Saints there. I think their defense is going to carry them a little bit.
Washington, I'm fine with. The one I would say is the Panthers over the Jets, maybe.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
Just because I believe in the talent on the Panthers defense more than I do on the Jets. And then not only that, I think that Baker, as of right now, is a better quarterback than what we've seen out of Zach Wilson.
I agree.
And then...
Real quick, shout out to boy Zane Gonzalez on the Panthers. Kicker. Went to high school with him. Hope he has a good year.
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't say that when I was looking at it. I was going to say it, but I was like, oh, that's your guy, so you don't even say that. Like,
I forgot.
That's on him.
Nah, shout out to boy Zane.
Yeah, I'm okay with putting the Jets over the Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm down for that too. So that was 21 Browns, 22 Saints, 23 Commanders, 24 Panthers, 25 Jets, 26 Jaguars. So
I think is pretty fair.
Yeah, moving on to the Giants, or the rebuilding teams.
Honestly, this is a toss-up.
I think we go towards the end, right? So I think we got the Texans at the end, right?
I think the Seahawks belong there. I think the Lions are the third worst team, so they gotta be up there too. And then
I'm almost cool with how it is now.
I want to put the Falcons over the Bears.
Yeah, I was about to say I literally did that as you said it. Yeah, I'm cool with how that is.
I think that's how it's gonna be. Like, I think that's it.
Yeah, so that means we have the Giants at 27. The Falcons at 28, the Bears at 29, Lions at 30, Seahawks at 31, and Texans at 32. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, this is hard. Like,
it's really hard. I thought it was going to be a lot easier and quicker, but once we got into it, like, yeah, it's definitely harder than I thought.
Yeah, there's a lot of good teams and a lot of like looking at the best of the rest, like there's a playoff team already in there.
Yeah.
There's 2 playoff teams in there actually. That we're not putting in the playoffs again. Like that's tough. Like you had the 49ers, the Patriots, they both made it last year, and right now we have them missing it again. Or missing it now.
Yep.
The Colts could easily be in there, the Ravens could be in there, the Broncos, like it's hard. But at the end of the day, one of these these teams are gonna miss them, some of them, so
well,
it just depends like what games you win and what games you lose.
I think that wraps up our NFL team rankings. I'm pretty happy with what we have here, Nick. I think we could easily argue some other teams in different spots, but again, it's just so hard. But I'm happy with where we have it now. I'm down to maybe revisit it midway through the season and maybe do another one. But I'm cool with where we're at now.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. It's hard to say. Like some teams can move up, some teams can move down. It really depends. All I see is that Nathan's upset about the Seahawks.
Yeah, he's super upset about the Seahawks, but that's where we got him, Nathan. Deal with it.
Yeah, you got the wide receivers, but who's your quarterback, Nathan? I didn't see. I see
who's
you
your
didn't
quarterback?
put that in there. You need to put that in the comment.
Goodness. Didn't y'all have all the same players last year, pretty much? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, you saw how that worked out. You won 7-10.
But I think that's gonna wrap up the episode. Nick, you got anything before we head out?
Just if you like, subscribe, or anything, like appreciate it. If you watch the live stream, super appreciate it. If you watch 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I appreciate everything. You know what I mean? Shout out to anyone that takes the time out of the day to listen to me talk about football and to listen to my friend talk about football. Again, we're not even making any money out of this, so it's just us doing it for fun. But if you support in any way, I love it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much set with this tier list. I think it's perfect the way it is. At the end of the day, some people are going to be upset. Like Nathan's upset.
but
it is what it is. Like,
yeah.
This is our opinion. You don't have to like it. You don't have to respect it. But we're going to put it out there.
This is why we do it at the end of the day, too. It's all conversation starters. You know what I mean? It just gives us another reason to debate talking about football or debating anything. You know what I mean? Like, we have our own opinions. Everybody's going to have different opinions. We're not professionals. We're not claiming to be professionals. We're just 2 dudes hanging out, talking about football.
Analyst,
yeah. Would that be lit to be an ESPN analyst? Absolutely.
Yes.
But that's why we're doing this. Who knows? One day, maybe, right? A guy can dream. But just to reiterate what Nick said, we appreciate y'all. Oh, I do have dreams too. We appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, comment, talk to us. You know what I mean? We're cool dudes. We'll reply to comments. Any questions y'all got, anything y'all don't agree with, please let us know. Any
shout out
press,
Nathan for being on chat.
Yeah. Any press is good press.
Janine, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Janine. Happy birthday to my parents.
To the Giants.
Yeah. Everybody that pulled up to the live stream, we appreciate y'all.
Shout out Buddy with his lines. I hope Dan Campbell bites off some kneecaps.
Not the kneecaps, bro. Goodness. But that wraps up episode 2. We will be live next week again on Monday with quarterback rankings, some MVP predictions, some
week 1 predictions. That'll be our last episode, yep. And then we'll take a break off, and then we'll come back with the recaps of all Sunday games. So.
Yep. So again, with that being said, we appreciate y'all. We will see y'all next week. Like, comment, subscribe. Hope you enjoy the content. And we will see y'all later. Peace.